The once invincible German war machine had been halted before Moscow, but Hitler refused to accept defeat. Instead, he turned his gaze southward, to the oil-rich fields of the Caucasus and the city that bore Stalin's name. What followed was one of the bloodiest and most decisive battles in human history. Could the Germans break the Red Army, or would Stalingrad become the graveyard of Hitler's ambitions? After failing to capture Moscow, Hitler shifted his strategy in 1942. His new plan, Case Blue, aimed to seize the vast oil reserves of the Caucasus while also capturing the industrial city of Stalingrad. He believed that cutting off Soviet fuel supplies would cripple Stalin's war effort. By the summer of 1942, German Army Group South, now split into Army Group A, heading for the Caucasus, and Army Group B, targeting Stalingrad, launched their offensive. The panzers rolled forward once again, smashing through Soviet defenses and capturing key cities like Rostov and Voronezh. The road to Stalingrad was open. By August 23, 1942, the Luftwaffe unleashed a devastating aerial bombardment on Stalingrad, turning much of the city into rubble. But despite the destruction, the Soviet 62nd Army, under General Vasily Chuikov, refused to surrender. As the Germans advanced, fighting descended into brutal urban warfare. The battle became known as Rattenkrieg, a war of rats, where every street, building, and even sewer became a battleground. Soviet soldiers defended the city inch by inch, turning ruined factories and apartment blocks into fortresses. The Germans had no choice but to fight hand-to-hand in the devastated streets, suffering immense casualties. By November 1942, Hitler's forces were deeply entrenched in Stalingrad, but they had overextended themselves. Soviet High Command, led by Marshal Zhukov, saw an opportunity to strike. On November 19, 1942, the Red Army launched Operation Uranus, a massive counteroffensive. The Battle of Stalingrad was Hitler's greatest defeat. Germany had lost an entire army, and the myth of Nazi invincibility was shattered. From this moment on, the Soviets would begin their relentless push westward, driving the Germans back toward Berlin.